It'll take just a little while, guys. We'll let a few jump on here before we start talking because we'll have to repeat ourselves a few times. I always try to get on here about 6 o'clock, so everybody can see old Trey Wade. He's on location. I called him. He said, "Hey man, I'm snatching on fish." I said, "You gonna make the show?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I'm finna do it right here from the boat." I'm like, "That's what I'm talking about."
Yeah,
So
I
you
got
just
three
got off
bars. I'm
work and
good.
you got off work and shot out there and catching a few fish, huh?
Oh yeah, I pulled the boat to work.
Oh man, they know you ain't staying over.
That's right.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, about 2 o'clock, I asked my boss. I was like, "We're gonna do anything else today?" And he said, "No." He said, "I seen your boat was hooked up," and I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Get after it." I said, "Well, 10-4."
That's
And
good
then I
stuff.
was, when I was coming out of the gate, I looked behind me, and he was coming out with his boot bag too. And I said, "Yeah, he's done too."
That's good, man. Well, everybody, welcome to the Black Belt Hunting and Fishing Report. We're going to get kind of right into it. I'm blessed to have Trey Wade right there. He's on location at the lake down there by his house, and he's come on. We're going to talk about some tournaments coming up and what's going on with him and some current lures and line and setups because I got out of bass fishing a few years ago, and Trey's right in the middle of it. So, he's going to share a little bit of information, not a ton, not exactly, but get you in the ballpark. I'm blessed to have a bass fisherman actually come on here and, share a few things without sharing too much information because, they work hard to catch fish and stay on patterns of fish. And how many you caught this evening, Trey? You told me you caught a good bit already.
I caught 25 or 30 probably in two spots right here, pretty close, probably within 100 yards each other.
I'll be darned. So you said you caught several right there. You got a rock pile you're fishing. Isn't that what you said?
Yeah, I got one rock pile right here, and I got another one about 100 yards away. I found a couple months ago when I first moved here, and
Yeah.
it's loaded too. So
Are
but
you
there's
just what lures are you bouncing off of? Spinner baits? What are you doing there?
mainly a chatterbait, a spinnerbait, crankbait. I mean, it ain't but like 3 or 4 foot on top of them, so you can pretty much throw anything. As long as it's got
Gotcha.
vibration, the water's pretty muddy over here still.
They're pretty hot, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it's the water's still muddy. It's like 64, 65 degrees over here,
Right.
so
I
it's
seen
just
where
right.
I seen where what's the guy? Tony Adams over there. He's a crappie guy. He showed some pictures. That muddy is like chocolate milk.
It's bad. I'm down here on the low end, and it ain't too bad. But when I'm going to work, it's pretty bad up there. So I can
Gotcha.
see it when I'm going by.
Yeah, I need you to learn that lake real good because I like to come down there and catch some crappie because I know there's a bunch of them out there. Ooh.
It's big. You get out the middle, you think you're in the ocean.
Yeah, I've been over it a few times, but you see what Mark Boland said. He said he talked to Leon today. You need to come back and help the old man find some. I hear you,
he
Mark.
can he can find them. He's pretty
Oh
dang
yeah,
good.
so let's we talk about what Trey's doing. We got a few tournaments this weekend at Miller Ferry. Let's see if I can find them all. We got the Private South right there. It's at Roland Cooper State Park honoring Big Daddy. That's a good thing. That's going to be Saturday, and then I know your dad's fishing that MCBA Spring Open, right?
Yes sir, he is.
At Bridgeport. That's going to be a big tournament. And you said there's another one. Which one? What another tournament you talking about, Trey?
There's a Five Alive tournament. I think there. I think they're from Florida. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And then I heard there's a club tournament coming out of Selma up there, so I don't know how many boats come out of yet. So it's gonna be a few.
Yeah, it can handle it, but hey, y'all guys be careful and be courteous. And I don't know how much rain we're gonna get Friday. Hopefully, nothing to stir the river up because there was a lot of trash in it when I was there Saturday.
Yeah, Jeremy's gonna have about 100 boats come out of Roland Cooper, so it's
He
gonna be a
said
good bit coming out of there.
Billy said the fisher men are gonna come out of Ellis, so
Oh yeah, there'll be boats everywhere.
there'll be boats everywhere, guys. So be careful, guys. Them bass boats, they'll get out from under your butt and get to moving, buddy. So y'all be very careful down there. But so, what new lures, Trey, are out right now that you're seeing that people are starting to buy to bass fish with? It, like, man, that's pretty neat, and not just really catch a fisherman type lure that actually catches fish.
Uh, Everybody's big on the glide baits now. That's what done became popular with live scope and everything. And
Right.
there's just people making just big swim baits now. People's using,
Okay.
and I mean, bunch of people coming out with different kind of crankbaits and stuff like that, but mainly the big deal right now is throwing a glide bait and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Big
I
fish.
seen Josh Jones throwing some type of 6-inch bait. He's catching out there 6 cents, excuse me, out in
Yeah.
Texas. Of course, he's around those big fish, so he's gonna catch those big fish. But do you see that making an appearance on like the river or these lake systems in Alabama?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've got some, and you'd be surprised the small fish you'd catch with them.
Oh yeah,
Just like throwing a big crankbait, a big buzz bait, big frog. I mean, small fish still hit it, but if you throw something big like that, you ain't gonna get a whole lot of bites.
right.
It's a good
Well,
bait. You get 5 in the boat that's around 13, 14 pounds and need a big fish. That's something good to do.
right. I see what you're saying. That's the time to pick that up. So
That's right.
I guess live scopes brought all this on because you can actually see what you're doing with that bait, just like we do crappie fishing. You can see how the fish is acting, see what the bait's doing. So I imagine that helps y'all out a lot. So
It does.
you're gonna step up your live scope game to hang out with these guys because hey, it's coming.
Yeah,
I
we
know.
all need to. Me and Bradley was talking about it the other day. We're getting our butts kicked, not learning how to do it, and we have the tools to do it. So we need to get
Exactly.
out here and learn.
I tell people this all the time. Even to go with me, they're a fisherman. A real fisherman that fishes a lot doesn't really have a hard time adjusting to it. Somebody that's not, a novice guy that don't, that can't close their eyes and know what their bait are doing. What it's doing. That's the thing about it. Once that presentation and the fish set up, and you're gonna know what to look for. That's what you got to get into.
Yeah, that live
You know.
scope is a lot harder than people think it is. People think you just buy a screen and
Oh
they just
yeah.
come in the boat, but it's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, it's not plug and play. We get into conversations that on Crappie Cast all the time, and it is not. It's about bait presentation and how you do it and finding the right fish. Knowing what you're throwing at, and not just throwing at everything that looks like a fish. That's the secret. You carry guys out and they're throwing at big gizzard shad and brim and everything. Thinking, oh, that's a crappie, and it don't react. So I couldn't get them to bite. So
Yeah, it'll mess you up for sure. You gotta
it will.
spend a
And
lot of time with it. You gotta spend a lot of time with it, just like everything else.
it does. It takes a lot of time and bass and crappie and it's just it's actually a skill set. People don't realize it. People that don't know anything about it, they don't know how big a skill set it is to learn how to do this.
You're right.
But I mean, you're it's time to jump on the wagon because I don't think it's going anywhere as far as tournament fishing. I think it's here to stay.
Yeah, it's too much money in it. It's way too much money in it for like Bassmasters, somebody to kick it out. Now I think they're gonna limit the graphs. I mean, these guys
I
running
think
six,
you're right in
seven
the
graphs.
transducers. I think
You,
so. I think
yeah.
yeah.
Now the
I
big
think so
thing
too.
is with Tonka Marine is doing the big thing now. It's got live scope on your transducer live scope on your jack plate.
Exactly. They're side scanning a live scope. Some of these Japanese guys have got 6 transducers on their boat. You're like,
Right.
good Lord, But I mean,
It's
that's a little overkill. But I mean, if it's not against the rules, I remember when Basil Bacon come out with a flipping rod, and he had an 8-footer, and they banned him on that. I mean,
yeah.
there's so many things that came out that everybody's like, oh, that you couldn't have over 150 horsepower. You remember that probably when you were a kid.
It's just I don't know, man. I think they're going to take away people using 6, 7 graphs, and they're just going to have to cut back on it. It's
Yeah,
just
they
too much
do.
money in
I
it to
agree
take it
with you.
out.
I agree with you because the people that's not sponsored by these people, Trey, to spend that excess of money, that's a lot of money. People don't understand that these guys got 25, 30 grand in electronics on their boat.
Right.
You can't, I've got a good bit of money in mine, but nothing like that. But, to compete and you want people to compete against these people, you got to cut it somewhere. I agree with you. Big time.
Then once you buy all that, you got to buy. Don't tell them how much money worth of lithiums to go in your boat. So I mean, it's a lot of money into it. I mean,
It does. It
would
really
affect
does.
the battery people and everybody else.
It will. But hopefully they'll set a standard with it. And, hey, this is it, and let's go.
Yeah.
Quit hoping and one of my coworkers here, he said, give me some of that fish and okra in the background. Thank God, Brian, I've already eaten. I ate before the show started because I would it would make me hungry too. I bet people enjoy. That's some good meal right there behind you.
You ain't
Well, man,
joking.
let's see what else we need to talk about, man. All the tournaments. What do you got going on? You fished ABT. What did you fish? The ABT at Martin? Is that your last tournament, or which one?
Yeah, we had an ABT at Martin a couple of weeks ago. We finished a whopping 119th out of 225, I believe.
Yeah, you love that lake, don't you?
I actually do like it a lot, but then again, you hate it. You know, we had 8.5 pounds, which is pretty much normal over there, to be
Yeah,
honest with you. It's
I
kind of like catching
understand.
10 pounds at Millis Ferry. But man, if you catch a 3 or 4 pounder with that, man, we just went from 119th to like 25th. That's just how that lake is.
It's
You're one
crazy.
fish
Yeah,
away from getting a really good check. So,
yeah.
uh,
Where's the next ABT? This is a South Division you fish, right?
right. The next one is at Logan Martin on April the 13th or something like that. I believe
Okay.
that's pretty
Okay,
close.
Logan Martin. You ought to hit it
Uh,
just right. It ought to be good.
it ought to be. Hopefully, it ain't April. It can be in between the shad spawn and in between the post spawn phase, and maybe it won't be like a funky phase. Maybe it'll be real good. We're hoping
Yeah,
it is.
that people don't understand that post spawn. There is like a lull, kind of like deer hunting.
Right.
They kind of get that, especially the big females, the bigger fish that you're looking for.
And hopefully it don't rain. Seems like every tournament we fish this year, just like this weekend. Bradley texted me. He said it's supposed to rain Friday, and I was like, "Well, that's about right."
I don't know how much rain we're gonna get. It doesn't look like a lot, so hopefully it doesn't mess. It doesn't need to get any muddier, or to be honest with you, I'm hoping we're kind of done with that pattern, but it
I hope
doesn't
so
go
too.
away, man, until like the second weekend in April.
I know it never ends. It don't seem like.
And May's the only stable month you get. That's it's okay. And
Right.
but I mean, if you got a really good March where it was consistent, there's no telling what kind of bags people would put up. I mean,
I
there's
know,
no telling.
man. I thought last Saturday was gonna be real good, but it didn't take but 15 pounds to win. I thought it would have took 20 easy.
I come down there and got my rear end kicked. I ain't gonna lie to you. I told Trey before the show, I looked everywhere I know to look, and I guess my fish that I normally fish for was buried in the mud. Just had a belly ache and said, "Hey, we ain't, we're gonna stay down in the mud." And people don't realize how many fish do stay in the mud. Now that live scope's out, we get to see it.
Right.
So I mean, it's one of those things, and a river system will humble you. Trey will tell you, you'll be on them today and bye bye tomorrow.
Especially if you're on spotted bass, it'll leave you in a heartbeat.
Yeah. That's what you've been catching today. You said spot. What's your biggest one this evening? You said 4 pounds, didn't
Mm, yeah, I caught one about 4 1/4, 4 1/2.
Man, that's
She was
fun
pretty
in 4
fat.
foot of water.
Yeah, that's right.
Man, that thing can pull your string. What pound line you running with on your rods when you're doing that?
Uh, Mostly 17 to 20 pound on spinner baits and chatter baits, and then on crank baits we usually just use 12. Sometimes we'll put 14 on a square bill, but
Is it
uh,
fluorocarbon or just straight mono?
uh, mostly fluorocarbon
No
most
stretch.
of
So
the
yeah,
time.
I got you. Well, you don't want to get that fish back in the rocks or in those brush piles. So
No, sir, that's right.
what brand you running, Trey?
Uh, I just started using P-line, and it's really
Okay.
good.
Okay.
And I've been trying it. I got it on 2 or 3 reels, and then I used some monofilament from Suffix, and then we use Power Pro braid. So that's pretty much the main 3 we use.
Gotcha. I got you. Well, it's different to get it. It's always good to ask questions because a lot of people, are wondering those questions. So you got a few sponsors that sponsor you in your ABT, right?
Yes, sir. I got or sponsoring me and Bradley. You've got Carter Outdoors in Grove Hill,
Okay.
McGraw Webb Chevrolet in Camden, Nelson Plumbing. The guy that owns
Mm-hmm.
it's name's Ben Nelson. He lives in Pensacola. His dad's the one that bought part of the marina, I believe, at
Okay.
Millis Ferry.
Okay.
So trying to think who else. Big Bite Baits just sponsored us the other day.
Good.
Actually,
Good deal. Congrats.
I got a call today. FX Rods sponsored us, so that's a
Good.
new one.
Good.
I know I'm leaving some people out.
I don't matter. Ain't no pressure. You'll think of them, man. Like I
Oh, I
said,
know.
it ain't no pressure on you. I was just curious where you can name some of them.
We got a good bit though. Mr. Jason, he's got that 100 in apparel stuff. He helps
Okay.
us out with some clothing stuff, and we got a few more, but we get a lot of help, and we appreciate it.
Oh
Appreciate
yeah,
it a
man.
whole lot.
You got to have it nowadays, man.
Every little
It
bit
costs a lot
helps.
of money to run those things. So
You ain't lying. Entry fee, gas, hotels, it takes a lot.
it does. You win one. What are those things? What's the ABT a normal tournament paying now?
If you win, you'll get 15 grand. Uh, they'll pay 40 places. 40th place is $500. The
Okay.
top 10 pays pretty good. After that, it gets down, $500 or $600 most of the time.
Right.
Uh,
You had several good finishes last year, right? I mean, I know you did.
yeah,
Like,
me and Dad fished the 100, which you can fish against professionals in it, and you only
right.
have 100 boats. And we finished ninth in Wadawi in January. Then they came to Millis Ferry, and we don't really like talking about that one. We didn't do very good in that one. That one kind of stung a little bit, and
It happens, dude. I mean,
it
it
happens.
happens to a lot of people. You know.
It happens. Dad has some big ones found, and it just didn't work out for us. But
Man,
we'll get them next time. But
that's right.
then we went to Smith Lake, and Dad found some pretty big ones over there. We came in third over there and won 10 grand.
That's
So
the one. I remember that talking to Big
yeah,
Daddy about that. Yeah.
and that's when the Schroeder boys, they came in second. They almost won it, but some locals came in and beat them out the last second.
Man,
So
I remember that. I do remember that. So
and
that's good. That's pretty good, man. So how many? You
it
ain't but one or two. You're not but one tournament in right now, or two this year.
two. We got a good check at Lake Jordan the first tournament, and we messed up pretty bad on the next tournament after
I
that one. But
understand.
we got Logan Martin. Then we have what's in May? Cooters Ponds in May in
Mm,
Prattville, and then they come over here and Eufaula in June. So
good. So what do you think when you say messed up for people? What do you think? Is it having too many spots, or staying in a spot too long? What do you think is really like most bass fishermen's downfall? If they're like, because I know me, I do it all the time, crappie fishing. I leave fish to go find fish, and it's kind of foolish for me. But
yeah, I'm pretty bad about that. I like to keep my foot on the trolling motor and going down the bank. I like to swim a jig, throw a frog, chatterbait,
right,
stuff like
just
that. And
covering water. I understand.
I think that's my biggest problem. My dad would probably laugh and agree with me that I will stay on the trolling motor way too much. I try to cover too much water when I need to slow down and cover an area. But that's really the big thing. We know where the fish are most of the time. We just got other stuff on our mind and going too fast. And, a lot of times we'll stop at a place and I'll fish 10 minutes and think, man, I bet they're biting right up here on that point.
Yeah, there's always it's
There's
creek to
always
creek.
better.
Yeah, creek to creek for me. Different creeks have different personalities. Even different times of the day. I've noticed that my fish, when I fish crappie fishing, they don't get up biting until 10 o'clock and on up in the morning. I
Right.
mean, I want them to be biting at daylight. It really doesn't. The sun affects the fish big time that I deal with. I don't know about you, but
It just kind of depends. Sometimes the year I'd rather it be cloudy. Early in the year I want the sun, obviously, to put them on get them up shallow, put them on some mats. You can flip and catch them and stuff like that. But
right,
I know what you mean. It gets on
it's
up in the
crazy.
day. That gets them closer to the brush piles and stuff.
Exactly. As far as crappie fishing, and makes the shad pull up. I guarantee you're in that muddy water and you got a bait making some racket. Those spots they're tomahawking that thing. I
That's
guarantee
right.
you.
They actually started blowing up a while ago, and I had to watch it. So that hurt a little bit, Miss
You ain't gonna
Shane.
be on here. We ain't gonna be on here too much longer. Let you get
I'm
your
just
fish.
messing with you. But yeah, they did start blowing up, and I was like, gosh, the mighty.
So you throwing any like spooks or top water on them? Are you throwing anything like that on them? Or
No, sir, I hadn't. They've been hitting the chatterbait and the crankbait so good, I ain't threw nothing else.
I bet they're choking it too, aren't they?
And they're choking it. I mean,
Yeah.
every time I catch one, the fish is bleeding, so they
Yeah,
got it swallowed.
that's a good thing, man. That's a good thing, man. I appreciate you coming on here, kind of dropping some information for these bass guys, or just fishing in general. So your dad's fishing this weekend. You said you're gonna come over and do some visiting. You're not fishing over here, so
Yeah, I got to bring my girlfriend up there to meet the family.
I
So,
understand. Hey, that's a big step, man. Hey,
yeah,
I
big
get it.
step. Oh,
I
yeah.
understand. Hey, you got to do what you got to do, man.
It'll be
I
okay. I'll
understand.
be back next weekend.
I understand, bud. That's good stuff, man. So I'm trying to think what all I know I need to think of some other tournaments. Maddie's tournament right here, the Millers Ferry Heritage Open. They're going to be at Roland Cooper's. I mean, where are they moving? She told me, and I'm trying to think of where they're going to be.
I think
They're going to be at Bridgeport instead of Roland Cooper. That's exactly right.
I believe so.
That's where she moved it to. I messed up last show, and they were going to be at Roland Cooper, but that Heritage Open right there, guys, is going to be at Bridgeport.
And I think she's got one, just a regular tournament on April the 6th, so it'll be coming up.
Right. Yeah.
I believe.
She reminds me. I'm going to try to get her on here on the show and try to remind everybody when her stuff's coming up for sure. But I know the Pride of the South this weekend. That's going to be a big tournament. It sounds like they got 6 or 7 tournaments coming out of there. It's because I think somebody said Fisher Men are going to be at Ellis's. You got one at Roland Cooper. You got one at Bridgeport. You got one coming out of Selma. You know they're coming down river. So,
yeah, it's going to be packed.
Hey, man, it's part of it this time of year. You know, people's been cooped up deer hunting and paying these boat notes, and they want to get out there and catch some fish. You know,
that's right. It's finally done warmed up, and they're ready to go.
Yeah, I've been going all year, so it doesn't really affect me. So,
yeah,
but
me neither.
I understand. I understand people wanting to get out there and catch some fish, but. What do you think Miller's Ferry wise is bass fishing? What do you think people need to be kind of generally looking for, right now?
Mainly just trying to fish shallow, and I'm sure that most of them fish are pulling up and getting shallow. And I had a couple buddies fish last weekend, and they said they caught some spots in the river. So I mean, you can still get in the river and catch spots in them current breaks. So it's still all in plays. Just if you want to get out there and fool with that hard running river, you can do it, still catch them. But if it was me, I'd rather go fish shallow.
I understand. So you're trying to just these points, secondary points. You're just looking for fish set up, moving that way to go spawn. Because when do they spawn down there, Miller's Ferry? May or April?
Really, right now depends on the moon.
Okay,
I haven't paid any attention to the moon, to be honest with you. But pretty much March and April
coming up. I know we got a big eclipse coming up.
Yeah, pretty much March and April's the spawn. Pretty much, you'll have a few early fish come up in February if you have a good warm front, but it's mainly March and April.
Yeah, Scott was asking me about the water level. I need to look. Scott D was asking. I know it's going down some. The one I get is below the dam, so it's down to 47. So it's getting there. I don't know the river, was looking. The creeks were looking great. The river was nasty as hell. It's nasty, but hey. Oh, Mark Bowen, I'm glad he's on here. He stroked him. I meant to share that picture on here. Everybody, I know I posted it, but Mark Bowen caught some giants this morning or yesterday morning. I can't remember. Some big crappie. I shared them on this page. So it's that time of year, guys. You catch them big ones, man, there's plenty to eat. Let them go. They're laying some eggs and, let that population stay up there. So same way with them bass. Try to take care of them, guys, because, hey, everybody wants to catch them and everybody wants to enjoy them. So, just try to take care of your rivers and lakes and your fish, man, for sure. Because I know that over there where Trey is, it's muddy and rolling, but you don't get too much. Do you get a lot of trash over in Eufaula?
Not too bad from what I've seen. I think it's a lot, but when it gets in this big lake part down here, it spreads out so much, it's kind of hard to tell just because it's so wide. But I know on up the river, it gets pretty bad up there.
I'm sure.
I live down here on the lower end right now, though. I'm probably a mile and a half or two above the dam. So
I got you. Yeah, I've been over that river, never been to it. I've been threatening to go over there for a while, so I need to come over there.
Come on. I want to charge you about $300 a night.
Heck yeah. That's right up my alley.
That's high, ain't it?
Hey, there's a lot of tournaments on that lake, for sure. So hey.
It's some up here every weekend, and when I drive to work every morning, I have to drive through Eufaula, and I drive by about 4 or 5 boat ramps, I think, and every morning there's 15 or 20 boats at every ramp, and I can't stand it. I have to watch them put in every day.
I understand, buddy. Hey, I understand. We drove to Rome, Georgia. We drive through Weiss Lake going up there to one of our customers for work, and you're driving right over a lot of fish.
That's right.
But yeah, man, the crappie as far as Miller's Ferry, I think they should be starting to set up a little better and calming down, because I think that high water and all that current just ate boogered them up, buddy. I'm sure it did the bass too.
It did.
They can't.
It'd throw them for a loop, that's for sure.
They can't stabilize. Poor Demopolis gets rocked. When the water gets up, it's crazy. But
I'm
I
sure they got
appreciate you being on here, man. What's that, Trey?
I said I'm sure they got a tournament over there this weekend.
Oh yeah, I can't keep it. People, if they send it to me, or if I see it posted, I try to add it on here, as I can, because I want to get as much information out and help everybody that I can. Harris Farms and Marketplace is one of the sponsors of the show. I'm sure you ate plenty of that sausage over there.
No, they got one of the best, probably the best steak in Camden.
They do. You go over there and the pork chops and the steak. I have to get out of there, man. I'm just telling you, I'll spend a couple $100 before I can blink.
Everything we have ever got from there is good. It don't matter what we get. So
it's easy. When he talked about sponsoring the show and told me, I said, that's a no-brainer.
Ain't no doubt.
That's a no-brainer. I appreciate Parker for sure. And then I got Hunter's Run right there in Camden. They come on board, and hey, it's a great place to eat too and have a drink and relax. They're right there in Camden. People don't understand. You visit Camden fishing, you need to visit those places. So
that's right.
For sure, man. We'll tighten this thing up and let you get back to fishing, man. I don't want to involve, but I appreciate all the information. We'll get you back on here for sure. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Ain't no problem, man.
Hang out after the show when I end this thing, guys, and Trey, and I'll holler at you before we. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank the sponsors. Thank everybody for sending information for your tournaments in or anything. It doesn't matter. Turkey shoots, bake sales. Hey, I'll try to share it if I get time. I promise you. But appreciate you, Trey. Thank everybody for tuning in to the Black Belt Hunting and Fishing Report. We're gonna sign out. We'll see y'all next Wednesday.
All right. See you, buddy.